Welcome to In Such a Time, conversations on Jewish life, leadership, and meaning. Each week, Rabbis Jonathan Jaffe and Leora Londy explore the moments, questions, and ideas that shape who we are and who we aspire to be. And now for this week's conversation.
Welcome to In Such a Time, conversations on Jewish life, leadership, and meaning. My name is Lou Diamond, and to help kick off this program, I will be introducing you to the two hosts of In Such a Time, Rabbis Jonathan Jaffe and Leora Londy. Rabbis, welcome.
Thanks, Lou. Good to see you. Thanks for your time.
Thanks for having us.
Great to have you both here. To begin, I'd love if you could share with the listeners and viewers a little bit about yourselves. Rabbi Jaffe, let's begin with you.
Sure. Thanks, Lou. I'm Rabbi Jonathan Jaffe. I've been the senior rabbi here at the synagogue for a decade now. Before coming here, I served in a congregation, a large Reform synagogue in San Francisco, led most of my adult life in California before moving out here with my family, and feel very blessed and grateful to serve this congregation.
Rabbi Londy.
So I'm Rabbi Londy, and I've been at Bethel, Temple Bethel, for 2 years now, going into my third year. Before this, I was in Israel for almost 2 decades. I'm originally from the New York area, but really came into my adulthood and into the rabbinate in Israel.
Excellent. Rabbi Jaffe, I'd like to ask this question. What made you want to launch a podcast?
I think, well, first of all, on the spectrum of podcast users, you would find me on the high end, probably, of those who get a lot of news, information, relationship building through podcasting. It's something that I've come to very much value as a medium, not just as a source of information, but also the sense of relationship that you are able to develop over time by hearing directly from someone and hearing conversations in a very intimate way. And so I thought this would be a really valuable tool for our congregation as well.
And Rabbi Londy, what's your take on podcasts and your listening-ship to it, if you would?
I've loved podcasts for a really, really long time, and probably spend a great part of my week listening to all sorts of content, also news, and a lot of creative kinds of podcasts, especially things that make me laugh. I agree with Rabbi Jaffe that a lot of people, will put a podcast, put their phone in their pocket, put their earpods in, and just listen, and you develop a relationship with this person who's buzzing and talking in your ear. And so because we're such big podcast fans, we thought that this might be an opportunity to get a different perspective on building a relationship with our community.
Yeah, let's go down that avenue, Rabbi Londy. Let's talk about how did the idea of creating In Such a Time come to be?
Well, we have great conversations here at the synagogue all the time. My office sometimes resembles Jerry Seinfeld's kitchen from Seinfeld's show, with people coming in and out and different personality types, and things will happen in the world. And often Rabbi Londy and I will impromptu have a 20, 30-minute conversation about what's going on in the world. That's a conversation that is otherwise unavailable to a large portion of our congregation, even if these conversations lead to eventual results on the bima or in the classroom or programming at the synagogue. Feeling as though the kernels of conversation that we share together are worth sharing with the congregation and getting to know not just us, but the sort of things that we're thinking about.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, a lot of sanctity, a lot of holiness comes out of the conversations between people, and especially people who don't always have the same view. And so Rabbi Jaffe and I can often be found yelling through our air vents, and we thought that it would be better for everybody if we just took those conversations and maybe brought them to you and to engage with our community, because I think that they've been really important in our relationship and in our growth as human beings. And also, we're living in a time where having sacred conversation is not something that, or maybe disagreement is not something that happens every day. And so we want to use this as a way of modeling what it looks like for two people to really respect one another, but not always agree on the same opinion.
Yeah. What types of conversations should the listeners and viewers expect when tuning into this program?
I think that we have a lot of conversations having to do with what it means to be a Jew in the world today. Where are the boundaries of Judaism in a non-Orthodox society? What are the pillars or foundations that we should focus upon? How do we bring our Jewish values to different issues as they arise in our world all of the time? And for me also, I very much live within the sacred calendar, and I frame the way that I see each week, each month, according to where we are on the Jewish calendar and what wisdom that has to offer. And so I hope we're bringing some of that to our congregation as well.
So I think that one of the things that we're thinking about a lot is also our relationship with Jews in Israel and us as Jews in the diaspora. And so much of the conversation that exists at the moment in response to what's happening right now is also like, how do we show a love for Israel that's sometimes complicated, that's sometimes nuanced, that often makes us feel like we're a minority in the world more than we already are. And also the clergy here at Bethel, we're all married to Israelis or Israelis ourselves. And so that's something that we're definitely thinking about. And so this is not only going to be a podcast about Israel, but I think that the themes of who we are in the spectrum of Jewish history and who we are as a people are themes that are going to play out a lot in our conversation as well.
I think just to add to that, I think that a common core of our conversations is often around Jewish peoplehood.
Yeah.
And Jewish peoplehood so often touches upon Israel as well as the diaspora. Mean to be Jewish, not just religious creed or mitzvot, but in terms of Jewish land, language, art, culture, music, humor, the ways in which Judaism is so deeply imbued with all aspects of our lives that it naturally comes out in each moment.
Yeah, and lastly, because we're rabbis and we're going to keep giving answers upon answers, I think that we also just see ourselves as part of being in Jewish history and take the past and the future seriously. And how do we serve as a thread, making sure that our community stays Jewish throughout the generations and does so safely and proudly?
So here's an interesting one for you that you don't normally hear. What are the types of things that we will not be hearing on this program that you won't be covering?
Well, I first of all want to assuage any fears by our congregants that conversations they have one-on-one with we members of clergy are bound by confidentiality. And so we will not be airing out our congregants' laundry here on this podcast, nor one another's laundry. We have an upcoming podcast in the series where we're going to be speaking about boundaries around politics and how much around specific partisan politics we'd like to bring onto the beam or not. And so I think that will help us as a guiding light. But I think those are two areas where we're going to be very careful around.
Yeah, I think we're going to expand perhaps what we usually allow ourselves to say in certain capacity, in certain clergy capacities, but also maintain the, our holy relationship between community and clergy, and not break those, not break that wide open.
A jump ball on this question. What are you each excited about as it relates to creating and sharing this content?
Do you want to take that one first?
Yeah, I'm really interested in these being starting like little buds that are going to bloom into like deeper conversations with our congregants. I know that people are so busy, but they also want to stop and engage with deep ideas. And so I think that this is going to be take this time and spend it talking through, getting to engage in that with you.
I agree. I feel that sometimes we have these great conversations in your office or my office and feels like, okay, but we got to keep this quick because we got to get back to work. And that's scheduling a time to have conversations, rich conversations about meaningful topics, I think is a good tool. Even if 0 people are listening to the podcast, the fact that we're sitting down like this and talking about how we see the world, I think is really important. I would add another thing. I mentioned again in an upcoming podcast about my own experience in growing up in a very much in a non-Jewish or Jewish minority population. I still have a lot of contacts and friends growing up living with on the West Coast and in Hawaii. And something I think about a lot because very often my non-Jewish friends ask me to sort of speak for the Jews. Like, what's wrong with this, Jonathan? Like, you're super Jewish. You tell us what you think about this. And the fact that we can put things down that's open to not just the Bethel congregation, but to the wider world, I think is really exciting.
I would love to hear a little bit more about the two of you because obviously a great deal of your show's content will be just like we're seeing right now, where the two of you get to think and opine off of each other's conversations. However, since you'll have special guests, other topics, other things on this program that'll be quite interesting, let's dig a little bit into the two of you. I have 3 questions for each of you so that our listeners and viewers can learn a little bit more about your interests. Are you ready?
Ready.
Let's do this.
All right, Rabbi Lundy, an activity you wish you did more of.
I wish that I took more time to write. I do a lot of writing, but I wish I did a little bit more creative, letting my brain go free kind of writing. And I'm gonna add, I also wish that I took advantage of the beautiful landscape in Westchester more and did more hikes and more kayaking.
Rabbi Jaffe, the same question. An activity you wish you did more of.
I have to admit selfishly that I get to do a lot of things that I like to do.
That's true.
I'm pretty happy with that. Rabbi Londy knows that for 6 months out of the year, I'm often found at Rockaway Beach in my beloved surfing. Given my growing up in Hawaii, something that makes me just really happy, but also makes me feel like a kid all over again. I never thought I would end up living on the East Coast and having it be cold for 6 months plus of the year. And so every year when October rolls around, I know that I'm not going to go into the water for another 6 months or so, and that makes me really sad. And I wish I could do that year round. And I know I'm speaking to someone in Florida right now, so you are welcome to rub it in all you like as we talk about this topic.
Yes, but what the audience doesn't know is that you have the American Dream Mall, which has indoor surfing.
I do go indoor surfing at the American Dream Mall from time to time, and I have gone snowboarding in their wonderful indoor ski mountain as well. Not yet, to be done.
Rabbi Jaffe, an activity you wish you did less of.
Because I'm a control freak, I end up doing a lot of administration for the things that I like to do and even things I don't like to do, which means I spend a lot of time on email, a lot of time on Google Docs, well, wait, I'll put it this way. There's a joke in the staff here that when Rabbi Jaffe goes on a long plane ride somewhere, avalanche that'll arrive on my colleagues' inboxes because I always feel like I have to have everything set in the right place before I can move forward.
I'm going to add that we were once on a flight that had so much turbulence that everyone was looking around like, where is this going? And at the end of the flight, I got like 20 emails. I was like, you were unfazed by the entire experience that everyone else had. An activity that I wish I did a little bit less of. I wish I did a little bit less just organizing everyone's schedules in my life. I just wish that there was a way of that just figuring out itself. But that is what it is when you have a lot of little people who you get to love.
A new activity, Rabbi Londy, that you recently tried or thinking about trying that you like so much that you want everybody else to try.
Oh. Okay, I'll reveal something about myself. I have always wanted to do a 5-minute stand-up comedy bit. And I've been so afraid of putting that together that I've never done it. But I've committed this year of my life that I'm going to do like 5 minutes. I won't tell anyone. It'll just be for me. But yeah, that's something that I'm planning on doing.
And so do you have the 5 minutes down? Do you have 5 minutes of material that you think you could give, or do you just look for that opportunity, or you still have to write it?
I have a lot of content that I need to bring down and figure out if it entertains other people the way that it entertains me.
Very good.
And for you, Rabbi Jaffe, the same question.
Something new I've tried out recently. So I like going on these urban adventures, whether it's Rabbi Londy knows I like to go bike much more in Brooklyn and Queens than I do in the parks. And I recently, as Rabbi Londy knows, I took my kayak and I tried to kayak around Randall's Island in the East Bay and up to the other side. But I forgot that on the east side of Randall's Island, there's an area called Hell's Gate, which is where the Long Island Sound comes in, and it's sort of like the rapids over there, and really bad current. And I tried to kayak through it, and for a while, a police boat was like watching me and like hanging out in my area, waiting for me to capsize. And I turned around and I went all the way around. But my next target is that there is a kayak slip just outside of Astoria. And I was going to try to do a lap around Roosevelt Island and see if that would be a calmer way to do it, because you see really interesting things when you're sitting in the middle of the East River.
Oh, I can't wait for whatever stories are going to be.
Like taking pictures under the Queensboro Bridge is like
believe that.
super interesting.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Rabbi Londy, Rabbi Jaffe, great to have you here on your own program here. I know our listeners are in for quite a treat as this program launches. In Such a Time, everybody go check it out. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on In Such a Time. Make sure to subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts. To learn more about Rabbis Jonathan Jaffe and Leora Londy, or to connect with Temple Beth-El of Northern Westchester, visit bethelnw.org, or follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Temple Beth-El NW. Thanks for listening.